Welcome to Behind the Veil. Now, here is your transformational coach, Tammy Hawks.
Okay. I like to come in with a very, very specific intention. So, my intention for this call is to really bring you as far as I can on your healing journey in this short amount of time, to bring you as far as humanly possible, which sometimes that means, depth and more depth than you're really maybe expecting.
Oh, girl, I'm ready for it. I'm a 4 in the Enneagram. Let's get to it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Love that.
nothing off limits. Ask anything. I will show up as fully as I can. Let's totally do this.
Okay, good. Okay, so if there's one thing that I could bring to you on this call that would make the biggest difference for you in your life, what would that be?
God, I don't know. The easy answer is just like a sense of direction, like where to go in order to see some shifts happen in my life. I'm at the point where I've been very introspective for a long time, and I realize it's time for action. So really knowing what kind of action would benefit me most.
Okay, I love that. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let's get a little backstory. Let's get a little backstory on your love life, where you're at now, and kind of where you've been for, I'd say, the majority of your adult life.
It's a broad question. I'm single right now,
Mhm.
and I'm dating, but not super actively. I kind of go on and off the apps. If I meet someone in person, I do my very best to say yes and sort of see how that develops. Um, but yeah, I've been single for about a year and change. I went through a really big breakup last summer. I was with that person for almost 4 years, and I thought that was my person. I thought that was the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Anything else I can add?
Yeah. Okay. So before the 4-year relationship,
Yep.
what was going on then?
Yeah, so I was single for a period before then and very actively dating for about 5 years. Before that, I was in a relationship for 7 years, mainly in my 20s and my very early 30s. Uh, and before that, I was sort of in college and just sort of dating around. So 2 major relationships, 2 periods of dating, not a lot of like short-term relationships.
Okay. And would you say what broke up both these two significant relationships?
The first one was not a good fit. Um, I think physically it wasn't a great fit. And also, my ex was an alcoholic and got sober the day we broke up. And so that was definitely playing into a lot of our day to day interactions. Um, the second relationship, I think, also wasn't a good fit in that we wanted different things from partnership. He had a daughter, and I was so willing to just like make a family with them. And I was so committed. Again, I thought I was going to spend my life with him. And I don't think he trusted me. I think he was lying about things and he didn't trust me. So I think trust was lacking in that relationship. And I think we had varying levels of commitment. Whereas, I really want a deep and serious relationship with someone. I want someone who really wants to make that bond with me.
And did he just not want that?
I think he was scared of it. It was very dramatic since we're not using my name, I guess, and go here. I got pregnant and he panicked. He has his daughter because someone he was dating casually got pregnant and decided to keep the baby. I was clear that I did not want to keep the baby. And we ended up in a situation where he left me at Burning Man when it had rained. I was trapped there. He left all his belongings. He hitchhiked out without me. And I just realized in that moment that it wasn't a ride or die relationship the way I thought it was. It wasn't like whatever happens in this relationship, I'm here with you. We're going to do it together. It was, I'm here for myself and you better take care of yourself. And that's not the relationship I wanted.
So did you cut it off or did he?
I broke it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So other than that particular situation, like what about it? Because you said you thought he was your person. So how did it go from that to, oh, wait, you're not my person?
I think I realized how much I was compromising and I was carrying the relationship. And again, when we broke up, some things came out that he'd been very dishonest. He'd been lying to me about some really big things, some medical diagnoses, some other relationships in his life. And so I realized how dishonest he had been and how I'd been buying into that. And I also realized how much I'd been giving up, thinking someday this will happen, right? Like I really wanted to live in a house together. And he sort of made space in his home for me, but we weren't building a home together. And in my mind, I was like, well, someday we'll build a house together, right? Someday we'll do this mutually. Mutuality eventually will someday be a theme here. I don't think it was ever going to be. I think he could invite me into his life, but he couldn't grow a new life with me.
Okay. So what other areas did you feel like you were compromising to be with him?
Whenever we would travel, he worked for himself and we were on kind of his daughter's school schedule. I'm an acupuncturist, and so I need to be available for patients. But whenever we would travel, it would be totally about him and what he wanted and where he wanted to go. He was a surfer, and so it was like he wanted to go to surf destinations, and he wanted to go from the second his daughter was out of school to the second she had to be back in school. And nothing either one of us said. The daughter and I both hated that, but that didn't matter. Our preferences didn't matter. Our needs didn't matter. It was just what he thought was best.
Okay. And in what other areas did you feel you were compromising?
Same thing going back to the house. We had separate homes and I was just spending a lot of time there, spending about half the week there. And I always wanted him to spend more time at my place. So I wanted him to come over, help me with little repairs, come over for dinner, spend the night. And he never did that.
Okay. So it sounds like the theme is everything that he wants and you sort of saying, okay, I'll do it all for you. And so
Absolutely.
you kind of giving him your power over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now, is that the theme in the other relationship as well? The 7-year relationship?
No, and here's where I'm going to throw a little curveball in. The 7-year relationship was a woman. And when I date
Okay.
women, I am in a totally different state of mind, different power dynamic. My ex is now my best friend, and she knew my other ex also. And she said, "You would not put up with any of this behavior from me. Like, what is going on? You are allowing him to walk over you in ways you would have called me out on left and right." So there's something about men in particular that I really hand over my power.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. So I want you to close your eyes for me real quick. There is when you really tap into the feeling that this man left you with, right? I want you to tap into the feeling of what it felt like to constantly give and give and give to him and him not reciprocate. That's right. I want you to actually point to the place in your body. Now, this is going to be the first feeling that you have, but there is a place in your body where this emotion comes from. And first impression, I want you to take your hand and put it on right on that spot. Yep, there you go. And first impression, what color is it?
Yellow.
Yellow. Okay. I want you to feel into that yellow. In fact, I want you to take all of your energy and go into that yellow place, that yellow bubble within you. And I want you to really connect to that emotion of giving away your power, giving, 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 and not reciprocating. No reciprocation on the other end. I want you to feel into that. Now, I want you to recognize and notice that from that yellow bubble, there is a projection shooting out from that yellow spot. It's shooting out right in front of you. And I want you to go ahead and pull up the image that's being reflected out from this spot. Pull up the image. Now, this image is going to be the first experience you had with this emotion. And as that picture becomes more and more clear, I want you to recognize what's happening in this picture. Do you have the image in your mind?
I do.
Okay. I want you to go ahead in your mind's eye and we're going to describe it. So, first impression, how old are you?
4
4. Are you alone or with someone?
with someone,
Who are you with?
my dad.
And what is happening in this image?
He's at the kitchen table paying bills, and I'm playing with my imaginary friends in the living room.
Is there any sights, smells, sounds? I want you to make this image clear and I want you to tell me every single thing you're feeling, everything happening in the room, any details that you have.
It's cold, not uncomfortably cold, but it's definitely like a fall or winter sort of day. There's NPR playing on the radio, and it goes back and forth between someone talking and classical music. I'm on the carpet, but Dad's on linoleum. Um, my hair is down. He has his back to me. There's no real smells. I can hear some traffic in the distance.
And what are you feeling right here in this moment?
I feel alone, and I feel like a longing,
What is the longing for?
companionship, or something to alleviate the aloneness, like a togetherness. Togetherness is the longing.
What are you wanting right now in this moment?
Connection, attunement, attention
Who are you wanting this from?
from my dad.
Okay, now I want you to see yourself as the third party witnesser. You're seeing and looking at your 4-year-old self. You can see your father in the room. You can see everything but a third person perspective. And I want you to notice and recognize that your 4-year-old self has this yellow bubble around her with all these emotions. Now I want you to walk over to her and I want you to go into that yellow bubble with her. And I want you to feel everything she's feeling in this moment. There you go. This is your opportunity to allow these emotions to be emoted. So you are going to feel them for her. You are going to take on all these emotions that she has held on to for all these years, and you're going to allow her to feel them through you. So I want you to, like threading a needle, I want you to walk through that yellow bubble, feeling all of it. And you're going to feel it until you see that yellow bubble dissolve. That's right. I don't want you to hold it back because to hold it back is to hold on to the emotion. So, however it wants to move through you and out of you, we're going to allow it right here now. That's right. If you feel the need to move your mouth, if you feel the need, whatever your body wants to do to release this emotion, I want you to just give it permission to do so right here and now. And you're going to notice as you sit and move through this bubble with her that you are literally dissolving, resolving all this pain that she's been holding on to. That's right. You're also recognizing all these beliefs that she came up with right here in this moment. All the beliefs about the lack of connection, all the beliefs about being alone, all of the beliefs. I want you to see it like sort of written all over this yellow bubble, all the words, all the beliefs that she came up with in this moment and possibly before. I want you to see all the words, all these beliefs that she has about herself, all these beliefs that she has about life, particularly the negative ones that do not serve her any longer. And as you move through these, I want you to see that yellow bubble dissolving as you sit with these emotions. I want you to notice that that yellow is naturally dissolving and resolving. That's right. And I want you to scoop up your little 4-year-old self. I want you to connect with her. I want you to hold her in your arms. I want you to tell her that everything's going to be okay, that you've come all the way back to the future just to be with her in this moment when she needed you most. Is there anything else that she needs to hear from you right now?
She's just very skeptical.
Yeah, what is she skeptical about?
She's skeptical that anyone can show up for her, even future her.
Is there any words or any actions that you can impart to her that will show her that she can trust you?
She's showing me she just wants me to do a lot of activities with her, play the piano with her, play with her toys with her, watch TV with her, go to bed with her. She just wants a lot of companionship.
Okay. And
Pres-
would you be willing to give that to her?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's play that out and we'll do it in fast forward mode so you can feel as though all of it has happened and is happening, but very quickly. All those activities. I want you to do those with her. You could see it moving quite quickly, but I want you to also notice as you're doing these activities with her that you're noticing her expressions. You're literally feeling that bubble dissolve, that yellow bubble, as you're proving to her that you are willing to take the time and energy and anything and everything for her to feel safe and cared for and sat with and seen and heard. That's right. I want you to see her literally filling her heart up with a new joy, a new energy, a new color. And our first impression, what new color do you think represents joy and love and companionship and connection for her?
Red.
Red. So I want you to see as you're doing these things with her and as you're proving to her that you are here for her, that you are truly always going to be here for her. I want you to see that yellow bubble turn to red. It might look splotchy, or it might simply look like a rainbow as it transitions from yellow to red. But I want you to just notice as you're doing all these activities with her that that bubble is just turning more red, deeper red. That's right. That yawning is it's symbolic that you're changing energies. So it's actually a really good thing. It's actually spiritual energy. Well, spirit and energy. So as I want you to tell me, look at her bubble, and I want you to let me know when that red has gotten saturated and deep.
Yeah, it's really red.
Okay. What is the expression on her face now?
She looks really happy.
She looks happy. Have you scooped her up in your arms and hugged her?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want you to let her know that anytime she needs this from you, that you will come all the way back just to be with her when she needs you. I want you to let her know that you're always available and willing to be with her when she needs you. Okay, now I want you to turn to your dad and I want you to walk towards him and recognize that he too has a color bubble all around him. First impression, what color is it?
Light blue.
Light blue. Okay, I want you to go ahead and walk into his light blue bubble. What are you feeling in this light blue bubble?
Oh, so much sadness.
He's sad. What else?
A lot of responsibility and overwhelm,
What else?
stress, a lot of stress.
I want you to connect to the blue. I want you to feel it. I want you to feel everything he's feeling right here in this moment. Knowing that on the day of conception, all mom's DNA and dad's DNA becomes your DNA. Knowing that you inherited all your parents' trauma and pain and guilt. And as you connect to your father, you're dissolving all these emotions for him, which is really for you because you are an extension of that DNA. So I want you to allow, like threading the needle once again, I want you to allow yourself to move through that light blue. And as you do, I want you to notice all of the beliefs that he's speaking over himself in this moment. That's right. I want you to walk through it. I want you to give him a hug. And I want you to tell him everything's going to be okay. I've come all the way back from the future to be with you in this moment, right here and now. What else do you want to tell your father in this moment?
That I love him,
What else?
that he should get some help.
What else do you want to tell him?
I don't know.
What color does the bubble look around him now?
It got lighter. It's like a silvery blue now.
Mm-hmm. You must have more to tell him. I don't want you to feel any shame, even if they're negative emotions, even if you need to tell him that you're angry at him, that he wasn't there for you. This is your time and your chance to really clear up this energy. What would you like to tell him?
I feel like I don't matter to him. I feel like he doesn't have time for me.
Let yourself feel the emotions. When the emotion comes up, I want you to let yourself feel it. So don't push it down. What else do you want to tell him?
I wish he would talk about my mom more, or at all, really.
Keep going. Tell him everything you need to get off your chest. This is your chance.
Um, that I felt so confused, and I needed him to help me more emotionally.
Tell him what confused you.
I was just confused by everything. I just felt really confused. We moved all the time. I didn't have a mom. He was angry so often. I just was perpetually wondering what was going on.
Tell him what you needed from him.
I needed I needed him to be a safe place for me, and I needed more stability. I needed just more time with him.
What else?
I mean, the next thing that comes to mind is just that I also want him to know how grateful I am for the time he did spend, and that I understand how thinly spread he was.
Mm-hmm.
And that must have been so hard.
Mm-hmm. What else do you want to tell him?
I wish we could have had a better relationship.
What else do you want to tell him?
I don't know.
What color is his bubble now?
It's white.
Mm, beautiful. I want you to grab him, give him a big hug. Let him know that you'll come back anytime he needs you, that you'll always be there for him. Now, in your mind's eye, you filled that room with so much love. I want you to go ahead and pop up out of that room. And I want you to imagine going about 30 feet above that room. And as you do, I want you to look down and see your 4-year-old self and your dad in there. And I want you to go ahead and make your way back to the present. That's right. Make your way all the way back to this present moment. And as you do, I want you to look down and notice, recognize, see that all the old patterns and pathways are crumbling and falling away, disintegrating, and new beautiful structures are taking their place. Loving, strong, compassionate, beautiful new structures taking their place. With so much gratitude, recognizing that the old patterns are no longer necessary. All those old ways are just falling away with so much ease. And as you're coming back to the present moment, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, just noticing that all along the way, the structures have realigned and these beautiful new structures are being reinforced and reinforced and reinforced with every beat of your heart and every breath that you take. That's right. All of them are aligning to this new place. And as you hover right above this present moment, right above the now, you look down, see you sitting right here, right now in that chair. And I want you to make your way down. That's right. Recognizing that through this process, you've shifted and transmuted and changed all these old patterns as you're coming down. I want you to see the top of your head as a moon roof, and I want you to just move down through the top of that moon roof, through your head and your shoulders and your heart, your hips, reintegrating. That's right. Moving down and aligning to your body, fully inhabiting your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Take a deep breath in, exhale out, batting your eyes open, noticing the changes, noticing how you feel. How do you feel?
Yeah, really good. Really
Yeah,
clear.
real clear. Um, what's the energy here in your jaw?
I don't know, the right side of my jaw has really been bothering me lately. It's very tight. it feels really related to my relationship with men somehow. I've been
It's
really
actually your right side is your maternal side. So that would relate to your mom. And the jaw here represents speaking your truth. See how close it is to your throat. So it's really what is wanting to come through. What are you wanting to say in your relationship with your mom, knowing that, like I said, there's no disconnect from you in that DNA. You and your mom are still very much connected. It doesn't matter how long it's been since she transitioned. You and her you are the very extension of her. You're the extension of that bloodline. So, um, I would invite you to get very curious and just start talking to her, right? Just start talking to her, and you could do it with your journal. Just so, hey, mom, I'm inviting you to just speak to me, and then just start journaling and just see what comes out, because a lot of times that's a great form of communication. I don't know how you feel about that kind of stuff.
I work as a psychic medium. I talk to my mom a
Okay.
lot.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I think that journaling could be a great way, but the right side and then the jaw.
Yeah.
So when it comes to men, did you then notice the connection of the picture that popped up when we tapped into? Yeah. So I'd love for you to kind of go into go into that for me. Like, what came up for you? What did you see for yourself?
I think early on, I just got the message from my dad that it wasn't a priority and he didn't have time for me. And I felt like I didn't matter. I know I mattered very much to him, but I felt like I didn't matter. And so I decided there must be something wrong with me and I needed to just take care of myself. And somewhere along the way, I decided that maybe if I, was a really good girl and did a lot of nice things for him, maybe I would get the love I wanted from him eventually.
Yeah, and how did that connect to this relationship, the 4-year relationship?
Well, I think a lot of that played out in that relationship. He made it very clear when we just started dating that he didn't really have time for me. He was a dad and he was working, he was taking care of himself, and he just found like he didn't have time for relationships. And we got together right before the pandemic. And when shelter in place happened, we decided to pot up. And I honestly don't know what would have happened without that timeline. But we kind of started dating without ever resolving this fact that he didn't feel like he had time for me. And so it was when the pandemic really ended. I mean, I don't know if we could say it's over, but when life kind of got back to normal, that's when things hit the fan because all of a sudden he really didn't have time for me. And
Yeah, and looking at the connection, right? Looking at the connection of your dad and this man. I mean, a lot of mirroring happening, right? And that's what we do. We attract our dads, our moms, you know? And so you get to look at and really identify the kind of man that you get to call in. Like, what does he look like? What would it look like? Because when you said, yeah, he sort of told me from the beginning that he didn't have time for me, and then we ended up together. Well, there was a reason why you were drawn to him to begin with, right? So you get to look at really what it is that you want. Do you have a list of that for
for sure.
yourself?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. At what point did the list come?
Well, I wrote one before I met for your relationship, and then I wrote one recently, maybe like 6 months ago.
Okay. Yeah, because if that's your standard, right? If that's the standard, then you're not going to just go with someone else. Like, you get to love and adore you. Like, you get to have what you want. It doesn't get to be determined by the fact that some guy comes along and it feels okay or whatnot. Like, you get to stand for the fact that no, I am so fucking valuable, and I am this is my standard, instead of saying, oh, it's okay, like, it's okay that he doesn't have almost all the things, but the big one that is very important to you is the priority part.
Yeah.
And he tells you right from the beginning, yeah, I just don't have time for you. So another thing, for if you look back, because you said you had some years where you were actively dating, right? Are there men? Because what I find, if we don't really work on the beliefs, what happens is, we attract the same kind over and over again. Right. And we're almost repelled by the nice guy who is obsessed with us. And I know that was me. Like, if they were all about me, I was like, no, because I had so many unhealed wounds. Right. So you get to look at, because I'm the beliefs that you have around men is that you're not a priority to them, and that you said also something's wrong with me. I feel like something's wrong with me. So those are the two beliefs that really popped out to me that I think you could really work on, is like, this something is wrong with me. Because is there anything wrong with you? The answer is no.
Oh, I said no, sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I
Yeah.
think because it doesn't, it's not, if we're talking at the same time, I don't hear you at all. So, yes, nothing is wrong with you. You are perfect exactly how you are. And you get to tell yourself that. So the belief for you, when we're dealing with what these are, which are life commands, it's something that you created really early on in your life. You get to create a statement that is powerfully opposed to this one, that you get to speak over yourself all the time. So what would be a powerful statement that you could speak over yourself?
Um, I think powerfully different would be something like, I'm really special, or like, I'm really a gift to the world.
Mm-hmm. That feels good. And what I would do with that statement is I would write it on everything. Get the little index cards, write it on everything and put it everywhere, because this statement is so strong and got stamped on so young that you're the only way to transmute that belief is to replace it intentionally and repetitively. So it could be something that you also utilize when you find yourself making yourself not important. And so if you notice, when you look at that statement, you're like, okay, in what areas of my life did I make that true about myself? And I want you to go through all the relationships that you made that true for yourself, right? And you get to look at them. And then what you get to do is notice and recognize when that belief is coming up. Oh, there I go, thinking something is wrong with me again. Replace it with the new statement. So the awareness, I really feel, is like, it's really the power behind transmuting and changing those really deeply ingrained beliefs. Now, when it comes to men, you got to do the same thing, because if you feel like men don't make you a priority and you're not important to them, then you're going to attract those kind of men. So I want you to look out in your life and notice the men that are not like that. The men that show up in their relationships and they value their partner, and their partner is so special to them. And I want you to just note those guys. In fact, it would be even a notch above to sort of look at all the men in your life and see, or maybe you don't know them at all, but you're noting everything that they do that you would really like to have in a partnership.
Yeah. I love that. I was actually watching a Seth Meyers comedy special last night, and he speaks so lovingly of his wife in this. And it really struck me because I think a lot of comedians kind of, take the old ball and chain kind of
Uh-huh.
approach in their approach. And he just adores his wife. And he could talk about things they do that drive each other crazy, but it was still so obvious he felt like he won the jackpot with her. It really touched me.
Yeah, those kind of things. And you get to keep adding to your list as well. What I noticed, because I went through my healing journey while I was married, and we had this terrible relationship for many, many years, toxic relationship. But when I started doing my inner work, because I changed, he changed. So all the things that I really wanted him to be that he never was for years and years, he became, because I started straightening up my shit. So it just goes to show you that even the same person can show up very differently to you when you change those beliefs. because my beliefs around men were, because I had an abusive father, men hurt me, men are scary. So I say this to really give you the hope that when you do work on these and you change these beliefs, you can call it in really so quickly, because you're becoming aware, first of all, of the belief that you created when you were a child.
Yeah.
And in those first 5 years is when all of our beliefs, almost every single one of them, they're solidified by age 8. So really in those first 5 years. And when you realize that we've created all that in the first 5 years, then we're living out like we're still that little child,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so you said you've gone on and off the apps. Did you meet this guy on the apps, the 4 year?
No, we met through a friend,
Okay, through a friend.
which is how I would love to meet more people. I love meeting people through people I know.
So, how about you start asking for referrals?
I like that.
Because I think, I mean, I met my husband through a friend, and I think that it's a pretty great way to meet someone. They come with references, they've already been vetted, like, and sometimes it's just a matter of, and two, what you get to work on, because what I've noticed with a lot of women that have not yet attracted their love, what we end up finding is they're very close, they're very guarded. And I'd say I was even like that, even being married, and which was a huge part of our problem. My husband and I, we both had all these walls up. So even though we were married and we were going through the motions, we were still protecting ourselves from the other one with thick high walls. So if you could see yourself just being open and available, and little by little taking each one of those blocks and like crushing it, have some sort of a visual. Because if you notice that visual that I took you through, you might not have known how powerful it was, but you're going to feel it in the next week, because things are really going to start to shift for you. So you could deal with that wall however you want, but it's really about breaking down those walls and those boundaries that kind of keep people away.
I've always been aware of those walls in me and felt really like unable to take them down. Like I watch them and I think that's a problem, but how do I get it down, open, off?
Well, I mean, there's a power in working with someone who knows what they're doing, right? So, like for me, I always have the biggest results when I'm working with a coach that's like saying, hey, this is what we get to work on next. This is what we get to work on next. This is what we get to work on next. Because if you're doing it by yourself, then it's kind of like, do you do it?
Right.
Right? You buy the program, but if someone's not holding you accountable and saying, here, grab a hold of my hand, we're going to go this way, I'm going to walk you through it, you're not alone, then we don't tend to do the difficult things. And it is a difficult thing to change these ways that we've believed our whole life. They've been so deeply instilled in us that for us to change the programming is hard. I'd love to tell you it's easy and quick and just bippity boppity boo. And it can be, some things can be, but for the majority of us, the journey to healing is like ongoing. And to have someone walk you through it, for me, has been the biggest change for me. Yeah.
Hear that. Thank you.
So tell me, what are your biggest breakthroughs in this time together?
Um, I think really recognizing how much that little girl in me needs, like needs love. I was going to say needs attention, needs attunement, but she needs love. And just being really aware of how that need creates like a tolerance for relationships that I don't really enjoy.
Mhm.
'Cause I want that love so badly.
Yeah.
And
So
know
good.
there's, ways to work with that, that you don't have to just sort of collapse into those patterns.
Anything else?
I really like this bit about consciously choosing a different belief statement and just brainwashing yourself with it, just using it everywhere and getting it deep into those neural pathways.
Yeah, that's been the biggest one for me
Yeah.
is is identifying my limiting belief, the commands.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And that's the big ones. It's like, I'm familiar with this pattern of thinking and this line of work where it's like identify the belief, shift it. And to me, the shifting is always the tricky part. Like I was talking to a friend yesterday about how I want to change who I'm attracted to, but attraction, it feels like such an instinctual thing, it just arises or it doesn't. And now I can see how I'm attracted to people who I don't really want to make relationships with those people, but I want to be attracted to my partner. And so I feel kind of stuck in the middle here with like, oh, how do I make myself feel attraction for someone new? And I think a lot of this work is the steps you take towards that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all about the when you're your healthiest version of self, what happens is you're going to be drawn to that which helps you, right? That which benefits you, that which brings you your desires. And so if you're still drawing in toxic people that aren't what you really want, it's really about being so keenly aware that your energy is just because of your beliefs. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So to change anything within the identity is where all the beliefs are formed. So it goes identity creates the belief, belief creates the thought creates the emotion, and the emotion creates the circumstance of your life. So if you want to change a result, you have to go like this, go all the way back to the identity and change the belief, or else I'm always going to believe that something's wrong with me. And if I always believe that something's wrong with me, then my results will always prove that
Yeah.
because it has to, it's law. So it's really so much power to know these commands and to be so keenly aware when they're coming up. I still, even though I've been on this journey a long time, I still look at my commands every day and like go, okay, it's coming up again. What am I going to do about this? So you get to look, from these fresh eyes. A new guy comes in, you start just talking to him. You're open, right? Nothing is like closed up. You're open, you're just curious. And you start talking to him and then you start to notice, oh, I'm not really attracted to this, that, and the other. Well, write them out. What are those things? And then try and trace them back to your belief because everything has that, like everything has, it's traceable. Everything you do, everything you be, all of your I ams can all be tracked back to the identity. And if you can get yourself to track it all the way back, then you can know whether or not you're just pushing them off because they're not that into you, right? So some women, they want the guy who just is not into them at all, and some women, want the man to chase after her, and some women want this, and it all goes back to what are the beliefs that behavior stems from. So when you could see it from that point of view, then there's just no judgment. I always tell my clients, we get to throw away judgment because you've just adopted all of mom's DNA, all dad's DNA. Most of the shit did not originate from you. So we get to let go of the judgment and just get curious and say, where does this behavior come from?
Yeah. I love that so much. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I hope this has been a great gift to you. I so look forward to putting this session out because it was really, really good.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
And if you do take yourself, I highly, highly recommend you do this on yourself. Um, like going back to certain events that you can neutralize because that will massively help you. I know most people won't do that because they want someone, but if you did that, you could have a really big impact. But I encourage you to have a really close relationship with that little girl because she is both you and not you at the same time. And we call it reparenting, where you just get to be the love that she always needed, to be the mother she always needed. And
Yeah.
she still has some pain she wants to deal with.
Yeah.
So
It's a long road, the healing journey.
it can be. I'd say it doesn't end as long as we're in this meat suit. But yeah. So, is there anyone else that you think could really benefit from doing this?
Yeah, my best friend actually would be so good for this.
Okay. Do you want to make that connection?
Absolutely.
Just like,
Email good
um,
or text? What do you prefer?
what's that?
Do you prefer
If I
email?
gave you my phone number, could you put us on a text thread?
Absolutely, yeah.
And where do you live?
I'm in San Francisco and she's in Oakland.
Okay. I had a lady a couple weeks ago on the podcast. She lives in the San Fran area
Nice.
too.
Where are you?
I'm in Arizona now. I'm from San Diego.
Okay.
And I moved here 3.5 years ago.
So you love it?
I love being out of California.
Yeah. Great.
Girl, how is San Fran? Is it getting dirty by the second?
Yeah.
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 You want to stay there?
I don't know. I don't know. It's the city's in a weird place right now, but I have such good community here, and community is everything.
I know. It
So
really
that's
is.
my thing. You know, I've always said if I meet the right person, I would be totally open if they have a clear move to make. But there's nothing, the thing keeping me here is my people, you know.
Mm. Yeah, and that's important. So don't
Yeah.
leave unless you feel called to. I was definitely called to. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
get me
You
out of
wait for the
California.
call. Yeah.
Okay, so can I give you my phone number?
Yes, please.
Okay. 619. Oh, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
619 518 5485.
Great. I'll start a text thread.
Yay. Well, I hope this was good for you. By the way, we detoxed your body quite a bit, so you're going to need a lot of water today.
I will definitely be on top of that.
Yeah. Okay. Have a wonderful day, darling.
So much, Tammy. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Bye.